Casey mentioned some statistics in his sermon today, and these are kind of the staggering statistics that of 6 billion people on the planet, almost half of them live on less than $2.50 a day, and you do the math, and it's under $1,000 a year. And but the bright spot that I always think about is, can you imagine how industrious you'd have to be if that's all the income you had? You would have to figure out a way to do the best you could to fight and to really think of creative ways to feed your family and take care of your relatives and so forth. So these are very industrious. The poor are not lazy. Some people say the poor, they just don't want to work. The poor, all they want really are a chance. 1 billion children live in poverty, every second child, staggering statistics. 25,000 people die daily from starvation, and 90% died where food is available. And that's a little bit about what we were talking about with the farmers. If we can help the farmers in Africa to become net producers, it's not just microfinance now. Now it's hunger alleviation. So microfinance kind of hits all those areas. Africa is home to 24 of the 25 poorest.
So what happens to this food that was available but not used?
Someone just told me last week that in Rwanda, apparently 75% of the tomato crop died on the vine because the infrastructure could not get the tomatoes processed over the roads and to a marketplace where they could return revenue. So 75% of nutritious tomatoes, I don't know, vitamin E or whatever is in tomatoes.
Right. Is that due to not flooding there?
Well, it's basic infrastructure. It's just, and that's where we need to partner. I don't want to get too philosophical. That's where we need to partner with governments, because we can empower people and entrepreneurs and business people, but the government needs to fund the big stuff like roads and buildings and marketplaces. And so we're working with USAID. I was talking to a gentleman downstairs, George, nice fellow, and he was keen on saying, hey, the governments do have to partner. So we do look to partner with governments wherever possible. Let's see here. Microfinance.
I'm a farmer, and I wonder about that number. Not that we're going to solve it here, but if you went to a pumpkin patch or a tomato patch or a watermelon patch today, say, you'd probably be appalled at how much stuff is laying on the ground.
Sure.
But most of it spoiled anyway. I mean, so I'm just throwing up a person who doesn't know could go out and say, oh, look at that waste. But the stuff died on the vine, got stung by a bee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't good in the first place. But no doubt,
maybe 20%.
The infrastructure's comment is true.
Still valid.
Yeah. So it started in 1971. This was before Oprah. Casey said 4 years ago, and it was an organization called Kiva that she was talking about. This is in 1971, where this man named Al Whitaker, who was the president of Menon Corporation, it was a division of Bristol Myers. He would travel all over the world, and he would see these terribly impoverished areas. And he met a man named Carlos Moreno in Colombia. And he saw this terrible poverty, and he said, Carlos, how can I help you? Do you all need food? Or do you need a tractor trailer load of clothes? What do you need? And Carlos Moreno said to Al Whitaker in 1971, all we really need are jobs and a chance to have capital, access to capital, so that we can start and run our own businesses. We don't want to be the beneficiaries of charity. We just need some training and some capital, and we can do the rest ourselves. This is 1971. So Al Whitaker gave Carlos Moreno a $62 loan, and Carlos had a small little spice business. And within 2 years, Carlos Moreno leveraged that $62 to a spice business that employed 11 people. So this is way back 40 years ago, 38, 40 years ago. And Al Whitaker says there's something to this. There's something to not just giving people things, but standing alongside. So this is way before the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to a microfinance practitioner in 2006. This is way before the term microfinance was even in the dictionary. So opportunity is really founded on Christian principles and was the early pioneer in this type of work.
So was this before Yunus started what he was doing in Bangladesh, or is that around the same time?
Yunus I think was like mid to late 70s. I think maybe like 75 or 76.
Okay.
And we've grown, as you heard probably today, it's not just small loans, but we've evolved into secure savings accounts. In the country of Malawi, a woman only needs to have her fingerprint to open an account. You don't need a minimum. Think about if we went to a bank today, right? We'd say, all right, you need a minimum deposit, you need a letter from your employer, you need a letter of recommendation, you need all this kind of stuff. A woman who has no identification, virtually. The government doesn't even know who she is. She can come into an opportunity, either mobile bank, where we actually take a bank on wheels to the rural villages, or they can find their way to an opportunity bank in one of 20 countries, and all she has to do is put her fingerprint. Just put her fingerprint on this scanner, and that's her account. And I think the average savings account balance globally is like $118, which is a ton of money. And the beauty of savings is that we take Malawi, for example, as the fourth poorest country in the world. And we build a bank for the poor, which is a lot easier said than done. And literally, the poor Malawians would take money that was literally buried in the ground, or sewn into clothing, or stuffed into a mattress. All that dead capital was put on deposit at Opportunity Bank. What Opportunity Bank does is then take all those deposits and reloan them to other poor Malawians. So it's, in other words, Malawians helping their fellow Malawians. We're just a bridge. We're just the bridge. So it's just a fantastic way to support and help people. Our goal is to help clients rise from poverty through entrepreneurship. People say the best way to help a child is to help their parents. Casey talked about a water pump, how you can get, just with a small loan, you get a pump to pump water from the river up to your home, or to buy supplies. This is a husband and wife couple that I met in May of 2007 in Santo Domingo. She's holding these special cakes that she makes. She had just shown us a brand new, or a stove that she had just purchased. And she was so excited to show our group this stove. We walked back to her house. This had a door that was tied with rope. It only had one of the 4 stovetop burners that worked. It was a propane stove. And she was happy as a clam with this new stove that she bought with this loan. That allowed her to now make more of these cakes that she is loading with her husband into their AMC. I think it was either a Gremlin or a Pacer. Remember those? Those big wide things? It was one of those two. She was loading those in because she's now distributing them to the local Hilton Hotel. These specialty cakes that she makes. So it was just a fantastic story, and I want to dig for her name because I started in January of 2007, and she was one of the first people that I met. We talked about a development model versus a relief model, right? A relief model is, and there's a place for relief after tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, civil war. You got to get supplies, you have to get medicine, you have to get clothes, food, you have to get supplies to the people so they can live. But for a long-term, stable development, you need to partner with the poor and help them to solve their own problems, and that's what we do. I think most importantly, our motivation, second from the bottom, is to respond to Jesus Christ's call to love and serve the poor. We provide training, loans, savings, and insurance, Bible-based trainings. There's a woman who visited from Nicaragua several years ago. She's telling a story about trust group. We do our loans very much in this type of scenario where all the entrepreneurs from a village will come together and they'll cross-guarantee each other's loans. So Andy, if your business didn't do real well because you had an illness in the family, well, it's incumbent upon Michelle and everybody else to help repay that loan so we can all graduate to the next loan cycle together. So it really builds community. And in one of these trust group meetings in Nicaragua, I think it was in Managua, a woman, they were giving a Bible-based training on forgiveness. And a woman stood up and said, I have been hearing about what the Opportunity Loan Officer has been talking about in forgiveness, and I would like to, for the first time in my life, ask for the forgiveness of my dear sister who is seated across the room from me. 10 years ago, she and I got into an argument because of something that our children did. She thought my kids did it, I thought her kids did it, and we have not talked to each other for 10 years. Today, in this forum, I would like to ask forgiveness of my sister. I mean, this is an economic, financial forum that people are, forgiving each other. So it's not just about the economic focus and the social focus, but we also have very much a spiritual focus as well. I'm going to plop on a video that talks about training, loans, savings, and insurance. It's about 5 minutes long, and they'll go into a little bit more depth.
You might want to turn the light out.
Okay.
There, so.
In a small village in Malawi, Chrissy Alawi does something most of us take for granted. She opens a savings account. Now her money is not only safe, but there when she needs it to help feed her family. About 3 billion people, nearly half the world's population, live on less than $2 a day. In cities and villages across the globe, people's lives are being transformed every day through the work of Opportunity International. As a global leader in microfinance for over 40 years, Opportunity International develops and delivers powerful financial tools in the world's poorest communities. We provide over 2.5 million clients in more than 20 developing countries with the opportunity to escape poverty and build fulfilling lives. Like all of us, people living in poverty want to save and plan for the future. What they need is a safe place to save. Using innovative technologies, Opportunity brings banking to the most vulnerable and hard-to-reach communities. Our biometric technology enables a woman to open and access a savings account using only her fingerprint, giving her recognition she never had.
In most African countries, women are the poorest of the poor, and yet entrusted with raising family. So if you have programs that change the way women do things, you're bound to have a lot of impact in that society.
With a savings account, a woman has the money to pay school fees, expand her business, and build a decent home. And Opportunity International uses her deposits to make loans to her neighbors. Currently, Opportunity clients protect their money and earn interest through nearly 1 million savings accounts. With loans from Opportunity, clients can acquire inventory, purchase equipment, and diversify businesses. Most of our clients secure their first loan, averaging $142 as part of a trust group where entrepreneurs agree to co-guarantee each other's loans.
In the trust group model, an individual has no collateral or security to access money for loans. They form a trust group, they're able to access these loans and they're able to uplift their standards of living.
That first loan, it made me double my business. Why? Because it increased my stock.
Gracias a Opportunity tengo ese capital, tengo mejor estabilidad económica.
Opportunities programs are designed to be sustainable. A repayment rate of 96% enables us to keep more funds circulating in new loans. Currently, over 1.5 million active loans give hardworking entrepreneurs the chance to develop businesses, increase incomes, provide for their families, and create jobs for neighbors. For clients with limited education, financial products are often not enough. More than 1.3 million clients participate in business, leadership, and life skills training led by their dedicated loan officers who help them learn skills, pursue dreams, and become leaders.
Our loan officers are very good. They process our loans promptly. They guide us. They teach us and tell us how to save.
It's talking about holistic growth, about transformation, and about training and really seeing an impact on people's lives.
Access to insurance insurance means a client's sick child is cared for, a drought-decimated crop is covered. The cost of a funeral will not burden the family for years. As a pioneer in microinsurance, Opportunity International provides more than 1.3 million policyholders with a safety net against the many risks facing those living in poverty. In 2009, a fire destroyed Sarah Bayamukama's clothing business in Uganda. But fortunately, she had an insurance policy through Opportunity.
Ebibiina ebirala abali ebibiina ebirala babasasuza paka insurance bwekoze eki bwesasudde naye ffe olunaku lwe twagiwa omuliro lwe twakoma okusasula loan.
Opportunity International is committed to reaching millions more with the financial tools that provide hope for a better future. We stand with our clients as partners in the fight against poverty.
It's about the people of faith that are serving in this organization. People who care about the humanity. The people who want to see the change in this world.
Christianity is based on love, and I demonstrate it through the work that I do.
Microfinance is the best thing I've seen because it gives hope, gives dignity, it gets people to get on their feet. And I think that's the great thing about Opportunity. They do it one at a time, and that's the only way it's going to work.
When you're focusing to the disadvantaged in the community, really that touches God's heart. And that's at the core of Opportunity International. We're giving them hope. We are.
Sense of
It's the wrong place to ask this question, but is there an Opportunity National organization?
Sorry, you mean a domestic program?
Yes.
There is not a domestic program. We tried one of those. God bless you, they were sneezing back there. We tried a domestic program, I don't know, about 25 years ago. And the trust group lending product where people had to come together and say, if Ken doesn't do it, I don't really care if Ken can't do it. I need to take care of Greg. So the cross-guaranteeing was unfortunately problematic in this country. Plus, over the years, we've really started to, for $142, which is the average first loan, we know how to do it right. In Africa and the developing world, as Andy said, there aren't a lot of safeguards. There is big need here, and there are other organizations, I think, that are thinking about doing microfinance in the U.S. But did you ask the question, Ken? Yeah, but right now we're focused exclusively.
No, I know you are. I just wondered if there was...
Yeah, there's a couple organizations that are going to look at. Of course, the loan sizes are going to be much, much higher, and but right now we don't have any programs and don't have plans. Let's see. Our core values, everything we do, we try to anchor in our core values, which is, you'll see, or spell out the word Christ. A commitment to the poor, humility, respect, integrity, stewardship, and transformation. Everything we do, every opportunity we have to interact with our clients, our first responsibility is to treat them in a Christ-like manner. Kind of what Casey was saying today, to model God's love and to treat them in a Christ-like manner. These are 3 pictures I took on like the 8th or 9th of August, just about 2 months ago, and we were in Bogota, Colombia. The top left picture is Jim France, who spoke, maybe you were here, he spoke in this room. He's from Colombia, he's lived in Colombia for 15 years, he married a Colombian woman. He's our Director of Transformation in Bogota, Colombia. To his right is a woman named Viviana. Viviana is in charge of a program with Opportunity International called the Youth Entrepreneurship Program. And those, it's hard to see, but in the bottom right corner are 3 young people, all about 21 or younger, especially the young fellow on the far left. He was probably about 14. Viviana in the top left travels to 10,000 feet in Bogota. That's the middle picture, because my daughter who was with me was getting sick because we were up so high. So Viviana travels every week up this windy mountain pass in Bogota to reach these 3 kids and others in this youth apprenticeship program. These 3 youths are learning how to run a yogurt business. And you can't see it, but on this sheet there are 4 basic tenets of what they're trying to do, which you and I would call business plan. Marketing, sales, production, customer service. This Viviana travels by public transportation. I can't imagine how she does it. And I asked her, I said, why do you do this? Because she said, because if I don't, who will? If I don't, who will reach out to these children? So this was an extremely powerful visit that we had several weeks ago, and I thought you'd enjoy Jim, who spoke here before. Just number of accounts. We have almost 1 million savings accounts. Average balance is at 118. It's 113. The average loan size is $142. 84% to women. 96% repayment rate. Trust groups. We heard a little bit about that. This is 2 pictures from the Philippines and one from, I think that's Peru in the top left. I did not take these. This is these women are walking on a train track in the Philippines. Have you been to the Philippines? Someone here. So you've seen, the poverty in the Philippines is just, people live literally on garbage dumps. It just turns your stomach. This is a train track that comes through, and when the train comes, these people fold up their little windows and things and let the train goes by. This is an opportunity loan officer, and this is a client. So when we talk about meeting the poor where they live, this is a fantastic pictorial description of that. This is a trust group meeting in the Philippines. When our group was there, they were just opening and saying, welcome to our visitors on the blackboard in the back. Savings, we've talked a little bit about. This is a mobile bank. We started in Malawi. This particular one's in Rwanda. Quick story about Rwanda. Almost 1 million people died in 4 months in 1994, as we all know, with the genocide in Rwanda. And you can say, well, what does this have to do with microfinance? In these trust groups, where members come together to cross-guarantee each other's loans, are both Tutsis and Hutus. These are people sharing the same trust group who, in many cases, had relatives who had murdered or maimed people's family in that same room. So when you talk about reconciliation, you talk about reconciliation starting at the grassroots. An opportunity is providing this reconciliation. Again, it's not just an economic transformation, but it's a spiritual transformation as well, this thing called forgiveness. So with your support, you are helping really to change the world and to bring people together. This is a mobile bank in Rwanda. This goes to the impoverished villages. It's a cute story where was this? I think it was Rwanda. A friend was telling me he was over when this mobile bank first came to the village. This older woman was lined up because she wanted to see this mobile bank on wheels. And, what am I supposed to do with my money? I'm supposed to give it to someone? It was a very foreign concept. So her $1.80, she's standing there with the equivalent of $1.80. The mobile van comes up. She puts her thumbprint on. She puts the $1.80 in. And the other people deposit their money, and off the big blue van goes, and that was the last she thought she'd see of her $1.80. So the very next week, when the mobile van came back to the village, who do you think was the first